What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our second episode of JR and the Crew. I am JR.
Woo.
Dude, what he did, he does it again. Like, he messed me up again. You guys get...
Well, I want to cheer for you, dude.
Yeah,
Come on, let me cheer for you.
Stay ready.
All right. We're cheering. Whatever, guys. Whatever. They like throwing me off. But you know what? I'm not going to be thrown off this time. Look, this episode is about choices. Because in life, we're always making different type of choices. You know, choices of what we're going to eat, choices of who we're going to marry, choices of school, just basically choices of life. And I think right now in these times, it's very important in the type of choices that we're making. Because as we all can see right now in these times, people are making good choices. Some people are making bad choices. And the choices of our lives determine the outcome of where we're going. And even for myself, you know, growing up, I made a lot of bad choices. But then at a certain point in my life, I decided to make better choices. And I am here today because of those choices. I am happily married. I have 2 beautiful children. I have a great job. I have great friends. And it's all because of good choices. I place myself in the right place, put myself in the right timing, opportunities, and it's all because of choice. And now having, Jimmy and Janet with the whole crew. They are the crew, Jimmy and Janet.
And Johnny, and our silent producer.
Our silent producer, Johnny.
And he's staying silent.
Silent but violent. But you guys, going into this, we knew we were going to talk about choices. And we all know that choices are important, right? Especially right now. What's going on right now in the news, everything's going on. We know that some people are making the good choices. Some people are making bad choices. So I want some feedback. What are some good choices that you guys have made in your lives, or even bad choices that you regret?
Well, I want to say this, because I was thinking about this choices thing. So when I was 18 years old, I choose to run on Dodger Stadium and jump over the fence.
Wait, did he do it naked? I think he did it naked.
No.
He was one of those freakers that did it naked.
I wasn't a streaker.
He got caught on the fence naked.
My friend betted me, but it was a choice that I didn't think I was going to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going to jail. And they ended up charging me for trespassing.
But wait a minute. Well, how was the jail in Dodger Stadium, though?
Well, they held me there it was underground, and so they held me there for about maybe 6 hours, and then they sent me to North Hollywood station, where I actually went to jail. That was my first time in jail. So then that was a choice. And then I kind of stole something when I was like 24 years old.
Let me guess. I think I remember. I think I might even know this one. Was it the stop sign?
Yeah, remember? So our church was doing this program, and I stole this stop sign, but it was a broken stop sign, and it said 10 Freeway West, and it was on the floor. So I figured, it's on the floor, it's broken, so let me just take it. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that the police was across the street. They caught me, and it was almost a federal offense. So I started thinking about all these choices, like. Seriously, I start thinking about all these choices that I make, and now that I have a 7-year-old son, I'm trying to talk to him about making the right choice because of the choices that I made, and having, that's considered petty theft.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know how long it stays on my record, but the choices that we make as a kid, and now it's like, I know. When you said choices, I was like, dude, I made
so many back so many memories.
I know, man. I made
so many memories of crazy stuff.
I want to hear Janet. What kind of choices you made?
I'm not going to talk about any bad choices just yet. I'm going to talk about a very good choice that I made.
Good.
Really young.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Well, it is what it is. I made a very, very good choice. I'm glad I control my mic. I can say what I want. That's a choice.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, all right.
That's a choice. I made a very, very good choice. Very, very young in my life, and I got married really, really, really young, and I had my daughter really, really young.
How old were you when you got married?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
Dang, we're trying to figure it out again.
I was 18.
Oh, that's not bad.
I got married really, really young to a man who was almost 12 years older than I was.
She likes the older men. All right, guys, if you're out there, she likes older men. All right. 1-800 go Janet.
Driving me crazy.
So it could totally mean something like daddy issues. It can mean a lot of different things, right? We can talk about that on the next show. But that was a very good choice because from that I have an amazing daughter, and that was a good choice.
That's good.
That's a good choice. What about you, JR?
What about you?
Well, the choices, I mean, there has been choices that, growing up, we can either adapt to the society that we're in or the neighborhood that we're in, and we could conform to that, or we could make a better choice to come out of that area. And, my family, growing up right here in the San Gabriel Valley, La Puente, a lot of my family members were gang members, hooked on drugs. And I had a choice. I could either follow in the footsteps or I can do something better in my life. And at first, yes, I was kind of following in the footsteps. And at certain points, my mother didn't want me to become any of those things. So she would, before I even... One time there was a time I was going to get jumped into a gang, and my mom actually moved us and said, nope, no, you're not going to be in that, and moved us away from there. And so she always did everything she needed to do to prevent it. Yeah. And so, but once again, my choice was to hang out with those type of people. My choice was to be around those type of people, and they influenced me in a bad way. But then, as you begin to get older and like you have kids, you begin to think like, what am I doing? They are literally watching me. Yeah. Because how many people, we know there's a lot of people out there that parents that they don't want their kids to do what they're doing. Right. But yet they're doing it.
Yeah. Right. Now, is that a mom thing or a Latin thing? I don't know what your background is in terms of your mom, but my mom did the same thing. She thought we were going a little south. She did a little more drastic, though. She up and moved us out to another country. What the? Yeah, because she was like, I'm not going to allow these girls. We went to Mexico. Oh. When I say packed up, we packed up, sold everything, and we thought we were going on a vacation, so my sisters and I were so excited. But then Cancun, here we go. Yeah, she took us to Guadalajara, Jalisco, and we were there literally, and she says, well, get comfortable because we've now relocated. This is where we're going to stay. We were dying. We were in high school. And it was just not a good look. So, but I think it's a mom thing which is, Well,
that's true because I agree because I had home studies. Yeah. My mom, once we went to high school, all my friends, they once they hit 9th grade, they all went into a gang. So it was like I had home studies. It was boring.
Yeah, what was that?
I was by myself. But this is the thing, my parents...
You can never be late to school?
No, I want to know
my parents were traveling.
I want to know when you were introduced to a girl in sex.
Wow, I can't talk about that, though.
Let's talk about Put it this way, that girl's in a box in his basement right now.
That was from our silent producer.
No wonder he was running through the Dodger Stadium. He wanted freedom.
Well, they say church kids are the worst, so, That's the thing, though. My parents were always gone. So, like, when my parents were gone, I was doing my homework, and then I found I remember I found all the answers, answer books to my home studies. Oh, so I basically, So my choices. We're talking about choices again. I choose to only copy and did these things, and then I only went up to 12th grade. I didn't graduate, so it was like a choice of like cheating myself out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I made that choice to cheat myself out. It's like golf. When you play golf, you think you're cheating, you're cheating yourself.
Cheating is a sport now.
In any sport.
Cheating is a sport.
So your mom thinks you got straight A's this whole time, but you never graduated?
Yes. She thinks I got straight A's and I graduated. So when she watches the show, she's going to realize that I didn't graduate. But once again, we're talking about choices. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the thing, because even, we'll go into this next topic, because of our choices. This is a good question right here for all of us. Because of the way maybe we look, decide to choose the dress and all those things, does it give the right for other people to racial profile us? To really look at us and say they come from this area, this and this and this and this? Because right now it feels like in this world, everybody's always putting us in a category.
True.
Right.
And on that note, we will be right back.
All right, well, we're back, and if you hear dogs barking, they're just a part of the studio, you know, because
We will
have
bring
a lot
them onto the show soon enough.
we have a lot of people trying to get into the studio. The dogs are barking. It's just chaotic outside, and it just happens. I'm sorry, it just happens. People want to know where our studio is, and it's just happening. But before we left, I was sharing about racial profiling, and because of the choices that we make, sometimes it gives people they feel as though it gives them a right to racial profile or put us in a category. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Janet?
Well, I think it's a little sensitive where I am concerned with that, you know, it is a very sensitive topic because not all Hispanics are the same. Not all blacks are the same. Not all whites are the same. I mean, people have, you know, different characteristics within who they are. However, I feel like, you know, there are bad apples in the basket sometimes, but we're not all the same. So because, I'm going to speak for myself, because I'm a minority, for me, I have to work even harder to be able to be better, act better, talk better, educate myself more, and do all these different things, because the minute I walk into the door, they're like, oh, she's I mean, it can be anything. It can be sexual. Oh, she's curvy. Oh, she's a Latina. All this, all that. And so I've got to work harder. So
I'm glad you said about the woman, because I was going to mention that right now too, because you have like two things. You're a woman and a minority, yes.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I've talked about this before on numerous times on social media, how I've been propositioned a lot, you know, in business. And it's not fair, because I don't think men, you know, have that, get that as much as women do, number one. But number two, being a minority, especially with all that's happening in the world today, all lives do matter, as well as Black lives matter. Yes. However, you know, because we know who we are and what our roots are, it's very important that we understand that, accept it, and do what we're supposed to do, so we're different.
Right.
You know, that's how I feel.
That's true. You know, it's crazy because I saw a video today, and talking about, you know, our subject here is there was this gentleman that these two cops, they came to him, and they started talking to him, and he fitted a profile. And this gentleman was an African American, and the cops were, you know, Caucasian. And this gentleman was like, what are you guys arresting me for? Oh, well, you know, they started going on. It ended up being, this gentleman was an FBI agent.
Wow. Yeah.
He was an undercover FBI agent. And so he was just, once they went in his pocket and they took his wallet out and they saw who he was, it was like, I want your card. I want your card.
Oh, yeah, their attitude changed real quick.
Their attitude changed. Their whole persona changed. And then the gentleman started even talking to them down, like, dude, my office is about to call your office. But he was more mad because of the racial profile.
Right.
You know, and I think, like, even growing up as a kid, we couldn't bald our head, because if you bald your head, you were considered a gang member.
That's right, yeah.
You know, or if you have an LA hat and tattoos, they're going to look at you as a thug. I remember sometimes even when me and Junior were in our coming up days and we were getting our hustle on, he would have to wear long sleeve shirts, because he would tell me, hey, dude, I can't go in here because they're going to just racial profile me. And I remember, too, one situation, we walked in, and he forgot to wear his shirt that day, and they looked at his tattoos, they looked at me and him, and they treated us like whatever.
Yeah, because it's true, because sometimes, even to this day, what I do, and it was a choice. It was a choice. I wanted tattoos. I like the way they look. I like the way they look on me. I think I look hot in them, so I got tattoos. So, but sometimes when you go to corporate.
How long ago was that? Because tattoos were not as popular as they are today. So you get even more, you know.
I got my tattoos like over 15, 20 years ago. Some of them are new, but some of them were like 15, But I do remember that we would go into, because we did a video production, and we would go we wanted to make videos for local businesses, and when we would go into the businesses, I would wear long sleeve shirts, and but I remember this one incident. I was actually doing background work for TV, and we had all dressed up in suits. So I was dressed up in a suit, and when they said that's a wrap, I went back to holding, took off my dress shirt, and no lie, people were like, I didn't know you had tattoos.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, why? She goes, well, you just don't act like someone who has tattoos. And I was like, what? I don't act like someone who has tattoos? See, so I was like, it's just a different thing. So I was like,
supposed to act like when you...
I don't know, maybe
like
crazy.
a
Thug. What's up, homie? No, but I don't know. But see, that's the point. Like, so I knew that I would get certain respect if I dressed up. Dress shirt, nice, slacks, everything. I get a different look and a response towards people. And then when I want to dress like this, where it's just casual and stuff, even the city that we're in now, and when I go to the city, some people thought I was a thug coming in. But when they started hearing me speak, they're like, oh, he's kind of business. You know? I mean, it's the truth, right?
Yeah, I agree. I've been to some places with you, and it's like you start talking to these people, and they're like, oh, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean,
he's different.
Even me as a friend,
Right.
I'm an honest guy, and he's helped me out to certain level when we get around certain professional people. He's always helped me, like, look at, dude, this is how they work. And I tell JR, hey, bro, this is your field. So we're going to flow together, but you go ahead, you lead us in there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how you can relate, because the terminology you use and stuff like that. And then they trip out because they look at his profile and they look at us, you know, because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes people think I'm from Mexico and I speak Spanish, but I don't speak not one lick of Espanol.
Okay, this whole time I've been misled. I thought he was Latino and Mexican, and I thought he spoke fluent
but
Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish
Somebody
at
bamboozled
all.
me.
I am from West Covina, like, you know what I'm saying?
I went to South Hills High School, and then I was homeschooled.
Right away they start talking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, and they're like, they get mad at me, you know, and I'm like, sorry, my generation, we grew up
Are we
not
talking
speaking.
about choices? That's a choice. He makes a choice.
He made a choice,
not
yeah.
to speak Spanish.
I did. I made a choice.
Well, it wasn't my
because
choice. My parents just never.
My parents talked.
Spanish.
They talked in Spanish when they wanted to talk about me and my brothers. So they never
So
taught
you know
us.
the word tonto. You know.
Yeah. Tonto, pendejo,
That was
stupido,
Gordo.
gordo. Definitely gordo.
Oh, gordito.
I just know
Gordito.
carne asada, quesadilla.
Look at
Once again, choices.
No, but it's all about choices, the different type of choices that we make, because it's just very important that even right now, I mean, we're older now. We all have kids, and every choice that we make affects our children and even our children's children.
Right.
So we are constantly making the better choices in our life. I mean, even right now, I mean, I wish I would have learned this sooner, but you know, I mean, we have Latino parents, they just didn't care, but they didn't care, but they just didn't know, they weren't educated. But I made a choice to finally really get life insurance. You know,
Me too. And I made that choice because of my friend.
and I got him to make the choice.
Seriously.
Here comes a Prime America pitch. Here it comes.
So if you're looking for another,
It's not prime.
Wow.
It's
not
Prime America.
Definitely not prime.
I mean, am I right?
That's really big, because I just talked about my husband and the choice I made very early on getting married. He passed away. And I'm really big on life insurance, because
Wow.
life insurance is what saved me and was able to allow me to raise my daughter, because money wasn't one thing I needed to worry about 12 years ago. So I'm very proud of you, gentlemen. You did the
Thank
right
you.
thing.
Yes. Hey.
People insure their cars, but they don't insure their lives.
No, that's true. That's true.
Dang, that's a commercial right there.
Can you say it again? I'm gonna make that into a commercial.
He was insure their lives, but I mean their cars, but they insure their lives.
I want to say this quote. This quote right here is from Stephen Covey. He says, "We are not animals. We are not a product of what has happened to us in our past. We have the power of choice."
Absolutely. Absolutely. And going back to what Jimmy said, that he, you know, before you guys walk into a meeting, you prep him, and that's a choice, because there's a lot of men, Hispanic men especially, that are very egotistic, and they don't feel the need to make a choice. They're very macho, and this is who I am, and whether they like it or not, this is who I am. And so he makes a choice to say, no, let me take this in, let me prepare, let me be better. And
Yep.
that's commendable. So
Well, that's true, yeah.
we need to make choices. We need to make the right choices. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in the old ways and never grow and never get better. So.
And we never could blame our parents, because our parents, they grew up a certain way, so they taught us a certain way. So when we became a certain age, we had to make our own choice, because people, you know, I used to think as a kid, like, maybe like 18 years old, I would say, well, it's my parents' fault because of this and this. And I got to about 25 and I said, you know what? Every decision I make, it's me.
Right.
It's going to be me. I can't blame my parents no more. I got to, what am I going to do? What's the decision I'm going to do better for my life,
But you know what? Let's talk about that. We're going to come back around. We're going to talk about that because a lot of people still, because of their choices, they put blame.
Yeah. And we'll be right back.
And we're back. So check this out. So we were talking about blaming.
Right.
And I was saying that I had to come to a point where I couldn't blame my parents no more. And that was a choice for me to, when I got married, I said, before I got married, I can't blame my parents, the decision I make. When I got married, I was definitely, every decision I make, it's going to be between me, my wife, and then my future kid at the time that I didn't know if I was going to have a kid or not. So I think now I'm not blaming my parents. I'm making right decisions. And when I was about 22 years old, I wanted to blame them for my upbringing. Mm-hmm. But that was a choice that I was going to do. And then I talked to somebody one day and they said, how long are you going to blame your parents?
Yes, because at a certain point, right, it could get to a point to where as you begin to start growing up, as you get educated and start learning about things that could have been done in your adolescent years, you begin to say, it's their fault. They never taught me. They never. And that's the easiest way out of getting out of a situation is putting blame on other people or my past and keep on just living in the past. 'Cause I know a lot of people that put blame of where they're not today because of their past. And so that's good because you have to move on. And that's the thing, right? Because people don't move on.
I always use the analogy of living your life looking at your rearview mirror. So you can live your life, always worrying about what's happening back, looking in the rearview mirror. But you've got a whole windshield ahead of you that you're missing it. So that's always been my analogy that I use.
I like that. I like that analogy.
And not only that,
like
if you
that.
point a finger at somebody, you've got 3 pointing back at you. So that should tell you something. Our anatomy was built this way. So you're pointing it here, but I've got 3 at me. So you always have to take responsibility and blame yourself for a little bit and then make the change.
Yeah, because let's just say it is your upbringing. Okay, it's your upbringing. You acknowledge it, but now it's your choice to move on.
Right.
Your choice to say, you know what? Because there's certain things that happen in my life that I made a choice and said, you know what? I'm not going to do this to my family. When I have my family, I'm not going to be like this.
Right.
And I'm not like that because I said I wasn't going to be like that. So it's moving on. But then there's people that just, sometimes they get used to the situation. They just love the drama. And that's just their way of just
It's also
coasting.
something within somebody's psyche as well, because you can live in the same household, same parents, and same siblings, right? But then that sibling chooses to go this way, the sibling chooses to go that way. And so there's different, it's a choice. But I'm very different to my sisters. I have 2 sisters, an older and a younger. We're night and day, apples and oranges. My 2 sisters are very much alike, but I'm the weird one. I'm the black sheep. I'm this, but that's because I made a choice to make some changes.
And and with that, I'm glad you said it because I did got this off the internet today. It said it said 2 sons of an alcoholic father. One struggles through life as a drunk, the other becomes a successful, ambitious businessman. When asked, "Why are you the way you are?" both responded, "My father was an alcoholic."
Right.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
One chose to go down the same road of their father. The other one said, I am not going to be like my father.
Yeah. I read a book some time ago called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
And that was basically it. The rich dad and the poor dad and the different choices and changes. And so, again, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Because it comes down, we can't be putting blame on just because where we live or where we grow up. Because yes, it does affect us. It does shape us. But at that point, we got to move on.
Right.
I think when I was kind of thinking about this subject, I remember my friends. They were always trying to get me to drink when I was younger. I didn't have my first drink till I was 28 years old.
Wait. I thought you were doing church.
I thought you were a church kid.
I was. I was a church kid.
And so you
I wanna go to his
at
church.
what age?
At 28 years old. Because a lot of my friends...
I hope your pastor's not watching this.
They were trying to get me to always drink when we were younger. But I wasn't a peer pressure guy. Like, my decision, I wasn't that kind of guy. So it was weird because when I chose to drink, I went to a club by myself. I know people are like, "What?"
Is this where we go?
I know.
Yeah, no. You know why?
I don't want to laugh at that.
Yeah, he's choosing. He just
I don't know. Remember the question I had earlier is when he lost his virginity. Was this at a club?
Well, now you know.
No,
28 years old.
But let me tell you why.
I see a Mexican Kevin James in there. Just
But let me tell you why. See, that's the thing. I'm not afraid to speak on me because this is why. It was a choice. The reason why I went by myself, because I wanted to choose it by myself and not let my friends peer pressure me to choose it. So it was kind of like a weird thing, like no, I'm choosing to do this. You know what I'm saying?
That Mexican machista I was telling you about, remember? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I was like thinking about it. I was like, it was a choice for me to either follow my friends, because all my friends, once they became 16 years old, they all turned into tag bangers.
Oh yeah, that was back in the day.
But see,
yeah.
you know what kept me though? This
Tag
is what
bangers,
kept
huh?
me. Is that I played
Cruise.
drums in church my whole life. So playing drums in church is what kept me away from partying with my friends, because I was so involved in church playing drums that's what kept me. But it was a choice though, because I was so passionate about drumming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like and that's what I love about right now us discussing this, is that because we come from three different worlds. You know, you have a perspective of a woman and the choices you have to make as a woman and as a young woman when you're younger. Jimmy, him being in church and that affecting, and then myself, I went to church at a young age as well. But then, you know, I was experiencing the world and in church. So I was one foot in, 1 foot out. So the choices are, you know, of what we make. I think right now, if I personally look back at it, that my choices have, I don't regret my choices, but then I'm like, they made me better.
Yeah.
They made me better. So let's, you know, we're going to come back to that. We're going to talk about how our choices have made us better.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's T-Bone, and you guys are watching JR and the Crew every Thursday night at 8 p.m. right here on All Access Broadcasting.
And we're back. So, you know, JR, you said you don't regret some of the choices that you make. I actually feel different, that you do regret some of your choices. I don't regret absolutely any choice that I make, even the horrific bad ones that I've made, because God only knows I have. But I don't regret them because of what you said earlier. You learn from, you grow from them, and so forth. So that's why I don't regret them. Even, like I said, even the bad ones, I did them for a reason. But if I didn't learn from them or grow from them, then shame on me. But that's why I don't have any regrets.
I agree.
My regrets are none.
Love it. You see? That's
I wanted
why
to regret, but as you think about the regret, you're saying, "Oh my God, what can I learn from this?" And then you say, "Oh, I learned this, and I learned this, and I learned this." So I don't really think it's a regret. I think, like we were talking earlier, it's an immature of thinking. If you regret, but when you mature, it's not a regret. Yeah. It's a learning process.
It's a learning process.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you guys. You know, I have to really agree with you guys on that, because it's truth. Like, at those moments when we made those choices, everybody, at those moments when we make those choices, at that time we were most likely immature, not in our right thinking.
Yeah.
But as we've grown up, we've learned from them, and when we learn from them, we know to make better choices, not to do them again. But you might make a mistake again. You might make a bad choice again. But it doesn't mean that it gives us the right to be hard on ourselves. Because that's the thing. We can't be hard on ourselves. We can't put the blame in the past. We have to let go, live life, love life, and move forward. That is what's going to keep bringing the growth within our lives. That's what's going to keep bringing the growth within your family. That's going to keep bringing the growth even within anything you do. You just apply that, you will bring the growth. Because it's all about learning. It's all about learning from our failures. It's all about making the right choices. And I am so happy that we talked about this, because it's all about making the right choices in life. And even if it was a bad choice at the moment, believe me, learn from it, move from it, and build from it. Right. And build from
That's
it.
That's good.
So thank you guys. I thank you guys for tuning in. This is, JR and the crew. I love being with my friends Janet, J-Rod, and Jimmy G.
Yo, what up?
So stay tuned. And you know what? Follow us. Follow us on all our Instagram, Facebook, and most importantly, follow All Access Broadcasting as well, because that's where the show's going to be. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.